Precision Development received a $2 million grant from the International Fund for Agriculture Development, IFAD, in mid-2020 to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and help smallholder farmers in Kenya, Nigeria, and Pakistan improve their yields, food security, and resilience to crisis. Many farmers saw complete economic shutdown happen virtually overnight. They couldn't buy the inputs that they needed at markets, things like fertilizers and seeds. They could no longer sell their output at the markets that they were accustomed to. We had a target of 1.7 million farmers across Kenya, Pakistan, and Nigeria. We surpassed that target by reaching about 1.9 million farmers in the first year of the grant.
With IFAD's support, our platform served approximately 107,000 users, above the initial target of 100,000 users. Now, these farmers are from the IFAD-funded Climate Change Adaptation and Agribusiness Support Program, as well as the Value Chain Development Program. We're happy to be serving in 11 states in Nigeria and across 10 value chains.
In Kenya, through our SMS-based digital advisory platform, we've reached a total of 650,000 farmers. These farmers are located all over Kenya, in all counties of Kenya.
In Pakistan, we reached over 1.2 million users in total. We covered several crops, including wheat. We also have a livestock component where we serve 51,000 users, most of whom are women.
With the exception of Nigeria, we already had existing established relationships with government partners. In late 2020, without any of our global staff ever traveling to Nigeria and without having an in-person office, we hired our in-country team, and they were able to quickly establish relationships with the IFAD country team, with governments, and launch a service completely on a work-from-home basis.
The COVID-19 pandemic required that we respond quickly to this new emergency and very challenging situation for smallholder farmers. One major advantage that we had in the countries where we work, especially in Kenya and Africa, is that we had already a service in place, which was already running at scale, reaching hundreds of thousands of farmers. So we were ready to deploy new information, new farming advice to these farmers on how they could adapt and better cope with the COVID-19 pandemic effects. And also quickly enroll new users, so new farmers that were beneficiaries of IFAD finance programs.
I think we were positioned well to deliver on this project because of the great work that we'd done up until the IFAD opportunity came through. We have been working in Pakistan since 2017, and we had fostered a pretty productive relationship with the government, the provincial government in Punjab. Punjab is the breadbasket of Pakistan, with over half the population living in the province and well over half the agricultural output also coming from Punjab.
Establishing a relationship of trust with these farmers has been critical for us. We were able to build on a foundation where farmers were already familiar with us, familiar with our service, and we were able to add features and add functionality onto the service from a strong base. Another way that PXD was uniquely positioned for this grant is that there's an inherent advantage of digital communications in a setting where there's a pandemic or where there's physical insecurity or fragile setting that doesn't allow in-person interaction.
We've developed very strong systems to be able to respond quickly to an emergency. And this is something we had done in Kenya, for example, when there was the pest outbreak of fall armyworm, which is still there in Kenya. Having systems in place, relationships with the government, and also key partners in place is really crucial to be able to respond quickly and not take months to get to the farmers after it's too late.
Our work garnered national government's interest, but members of the international community have come to see the value that IFAD is adding in Nigeria. In fact, we're able to amplify innovative approaches to support states that are facing conflicts and fragility. And we know that to address this challenge is more important. As we create awareness, we're also succeeding in bridging the digital divide to eradicate extreme poverty and also boost shared prosperity. We know this is working because of the goodwill and testimonials that we continue to receive from the state government as well as the smallholder farmers.
In Nigeria, we discovered that about 56% of farmers nationally had never had access to extension services. And this was even worse in the north, where we served the farmers that were IFAD beneficiaries, where we saw that the majority of them had never had access to extension services and even more to digital extension services. So being able to reach those farmers with information that is really vital to their farming, I think was a great success. And we look forward to continuing developing and implementing these services in Nigeria.
This was the first project that really demonstrated a proof of concept for PXD that we can operate in extremely hard to reach places. Nigeria was a new country for us in this grant, and the project focused on 7 states in northern Nigeria that are fragile and conflict-affected settings. We have a comparative advantage in reaching these hard to reach populations, and so this collaboration with IFAD was really a way to prove this idea that we can reach farmers that cannot be reached any other way.
We have learned that it is important to work together with the people we are learning from and also supporting. So at Precision Development, we've learned to leverage on human-centered design, and we know that no development approach or assistant will work if you do not identify the basic information about the people you're trying to support. You need to know how they can implement the recommendation. You need to ask them questions, get their feedback to know that knowledge adoption and retention of your recommendation is working. We have learned that emergency response is effective when you put the people you're working with at the center of your solution and keep them in the process until you achieve the impact that you're trying to get.
Another lesson has been around collecting regularly data from farmers, which is something that we did throughout the implementation of this grant. We did regular surveys in Kenya, but also in Nigeria, to understand the impact of the COVID pandemic on farmers and how they were able to cope with it and what kind of challenges they were facing. In turn, that helped us improve the design of our services. I think it's really important to have that, to start with the farmers, understand their context, understand the exact challenges they are facing, and then adapt our services and interventions to better respond to their needs.
We had a bi-weekly cadence for surveys, high-frequency surveys we call them, where we would get feedback on the last 2 weeks' content, feedback around comprehension, the value that farmers gleaned from it, and if they remembered the content as well. So we were also quizzing them along the way. We found that 60% of farmers answered out of 9 questions, 4 questions correctly. 6 questions in total that we asked. 60% of the farmers answered 4 questions or more successfully. And this is something that we're quite proud of because these questions were related to practices that we had already verified were not commonplace. So any increase in knowledge here can be attributed directly to our activity. We also did, in the Endline survey, we found that 34% of farmers reported adopting at least one new practice recommended by us in the previous year. And out of those, 42% reported digital advisory as their main source of information. So again, it's a significant impact, especially if you look at the numbers, right? We're talking about over 1.2 million farmers. I think that the service has been remarkably successful, but there's so much more we can be doing and so much more we want to do. I feel like this is really just the beginning.
At the beginning of the project, there was a bit of a tension between wanting to work as quickly as possible to reach farmers that were really suffering due to the emergency context, but also wanting to plan optimally to design our services to be as effective as we could. Ideally, we would have taken more time to understand the context in each of the IFAD projects in each of the countries that we were working with, but we were trying to work as quickly as possible to help them provide a service that could address farmers' urgent needs. In some cases, it was difficult to align incentives between PXD and IFAD at the global level, IFAD's regional teams, and IFAD country teams.
Working in developing country context always poses challenges, but Pakistan is exceptionally challenging in certain ways. We are renowned for our unpredictability. The scale that the government offers is unrivaled, and I think that if we're looking to make an impact, then they are the right partners to go with. However, obviously governments have their own sense of timing and cadence, which doesn't always match up well with the private sectors or the NGO sector in this case.
There's some issues with telecommunications in Nigeria, which sometimes are beyond our control. There were communication shut down due to insecurity, and also sometimes difficulties in terms of access to electricity so that farmers can charge their phone. So we deployed a number of strategies to try to increase the pickup rates of these push calls and the listening rate of these push calls as well. So in terms of pickup rate, we try to schedule multiple attempts over a few days so that we give multiple chances to farmers to pick up the call at different times of the day over a few days of the week. In terms of listening rate, we try to keep our messages short with really the key information and also lively and engaging so that farmers could really learn new information and apply it in their fields.
What's really been interesting about the livestock service is, of course, it's 97% of those users are female, which is a huge challenge in Pakistan because of culture and kind of the norms within Pakistan. It's often quite difficult to gain access to women. So that was a rewarding channel and we learned a lot. But it's also fascinating that once we got into it, we learned a lot about the specific challenges that women rearing livestock experienced.
We've had a very fruitful partnership with IFAD in Kenya and Nigeria. We look forward to continuing this partnership and developing new projects with IFAD in Kenya and Nigeria. In Kenya, we're having discussions with the new leadership, and we're also in discussions about a livestock project, which sounds very exciting to us. In Nigeria, we've continued having very regular discussions with the IFAD team. Currently, we are engaging with them on a IFAD Innovation Challenge, which is also extending a bit the type of services that we provide and looking at how we can complement agricultural advice with financial advice and linking farmers to financial services. So this is really interesting to us and we look forward to continuing this partnership.
And I'm happy to say that we now have received an extension of that funding in Pakistan, which goes until June 2022. So we're going to reach more than 2 million farmers across these three countries by mid-2022.
For 2022, Pakistan was lucky to get additional top-up financing from IFAD, and we were able to continue our work, both in terms of the core advisory service that we've been running before, but also we launched a new product. This is again coming directly from user feedback, where we heard that one of the main concerns was around weather forecasting. Infrastructure for weather forecasting in Pakistan is quite old, and in terms of the resolution of those forecasts, it's at the district level. It's a fairly large administrative unit, which can have thousands of villages in one district. So we partnered with CFAN and we sourced higher level, tehsil level weather forecasts. Tehsils are a much smaller unit of administrative unit or agglomeration. And in one tehsil, you'll have about 20 to 50 villages depending on the tehsil. So it's a much higher resolution forecast, and What we're doing now is a bunch of very interesting stuff. We're looking at sending just forecasts to farmers to supplement the advisory that they're giving them, that we're already giving them. We're also looking into customized advisory based on weather. We have a great team in place, and it's been super exciting to watch them work and deliver on this. It's just started rolling out in April, and we will continue this through to the end of the cotton crop cycle.